Hello and welcome to Level Up and Friends, where those of us from the video game and comic book store Level Up Entertainment get together each week with some friends and discuss something we're passionate about each week. Today we've got something a little bit different. I've got Lori Foster and John Pence from Unlikely Heroes Studios. They have a new Kickstarter for Elsewhere Volume 2, and we're going to talk about it and promote it and explain why you should back it while there's still time. Which is why this episode's coming out a little bit early, since time's going to be of the essence. I'm your host, as usual. I'm your host, Scott, and joining me this week, I've got Laurie.
Hey.
And we've got John.
Hey, y'all.
So, guys, Elsewhere number 2. What's it about?
Well, yeah, it's about 250 pages, and in there, it's about everything. So it's a great big anthology. But being volume 2, volume 1 came out last year, maybe a little bit before, and we got a little bit of a buzz from it. We got a few people interested. And this year we got so many great submissions that all genres, all styles, all levels of serious and funny and sad and trippy. So we just tried to fit it all in one book.
No, that's exciting. I love anthology series, like books, because you can get a lot of bang for your buck. Like you said, there's all kinds of genres and stories in there. I know the first one had a little bit more of like a sci-fi-ish action kind of feel. But just looking at some of the preview art on the Kickstarter page, like this one feels there's a lot more variety in it, which is exciting.
There's a ton of variety, yeah. And that's what makes it that's what makes it fun for us, is when high quality stuff comes in that challenges my ability to put one after the other, right?
Yeah.
Wow, how am I going to make this whole thing work?
I mean, I guess it's a little bit like putting like a good playlist together. Like, oh, you got to think about like the flow you're gonna have to go from one to the next. If you're reading it all back to back,
it's almost exactly like that. Or
yeah, he gets it. Yeah. That's awesome.
Mixtape.
Yeah, like a mixtape. Yeah. So what are some of the stories people can expect from this one?
What are your favorites, Laurie?
Oh my goodness. Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Wow. We have one. Actually, the leading story in the anthology, the first one in the book, is called Crushed. And it's like a romance kaiju story.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything besides that, but it's freaking amazing, and it's really just kind of different. And yeah.
Is it romance with the kaiju, or just a romance story that takes place in the backdrop of like a kaiju story?
I can't give it away.
All right, because I'm very curious about that one now.
Romance and the kaiju are not unrelated factors. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, I love Godzilla, so I guess that is a better love story than Twilight, right?
Exactly.
We've got kind of a cyberpunk western. We've got plenty of horror, plenty of sci-fi, a good solid stretch of superhero insanity from the Short Fuse Media Group. That was cool because they got all the artists within their publishing company to come together and make a short. How many people were involved in that? Were like a dozen?
Oh yeah, I think 14 total or something, just on their project.
Yeah, you see, as you skim through it, there's like guys flying through the air and fighting, and then there's a panda who barfs on somebody, and it's awesome.
So is it like somebody, like a new artist every page?
Theirs is linking a bunch of their intellectual properties together into one story.
Okay.
But it's one artist. It's one artist across the whole thing, but each page is written by the writer that owns the respective property. Yeah, it's really interesting. They did an amazing job with it.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I was just looking at the list of creators involved, and it's like a big block of people. Is it like 50 people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the full book, yeah, it's 70 total people. It
Oh
should
my
be.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I guess it's people from probably all over the world here.
Mhm.
So that's really exciting. And just from looking at the art and stuff on the page, I think what I am excited for is the Medusa one. I'm not sure what story that goes to, but the print you can get, I think, is really cool.
Yeah, Miss Medusa's Menagerie, Miss Medusa's
Monstrous Menagerie.
Monstrous.
Well, I absolutely adore alliteration, so
Yeah, that story, that's Matt Frank and Paul Hanley. He's the one writing Unthinkables. That's our other series. That's the two of them working together. Matt Krutzer is lettering. If you like D&D at all, like, it'll be right up your alley. It's very creature oriented. It's funny. It's yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but it's great. Paul has done so much research on that with like mythology and history, and it's awesome.
oh, that's really exciting. What are some of the other stories in it? Just the art is so different from all of the things that you've shown, like on the Kickstarter page. Which I guess we should mention. Your UHS Studios on there. I'll link it in the description for this podcast episode as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that
If
works.
anyone's listening to it and just wants to type it into their phone real quick.
uhstudios.com/ or / whichever it is in real life, and then Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's the quick link to it. It's just uhstudios.com/Kickstarter, and people can get there like that.
Cool. Yeah, keep it nice and simple for people.
Yeah.
Say the other
one and on Kickstarter, if you search for Elsewhere, it's the only one that, like, you have to type the whole word, but we show up there.
Say one of the other prints you can get, the Cyberwinch one, is also really cool, and that has a story as well.
No, that one is just good old fashioned like heavy metal magazine cover art.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I'm sure that one does have a story behind it. I know the artist who did it, and I actually asked him for that piece just for it's inside the table of contents. So the table of contents is kind of over top of that artwork.
Okay. And what's nice is these are add-ons, so you don't have to choose. You can just get whichever ones you want.
Right.
So how many Kickstarters have you guys had now? Is this your 10th one?
Yes, I think it is the 10th actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and
yeah,
as of this recording, you're well on your way to, like, it's going to be funded and you're going to be good to go.
Yeah.
So people like at home know that, like, hey, this will happen. They already know what they're doing. We've carried a ton of your books in the store already, so we know we can get that. And then obviously once this eventually becomes to print, we'll have it as well. I know we've got Elsewhere #1. I think we still have 1 or 2 of those left. If we happen to sell out, I'll grab some more. But what's nice is you guys also put up all of the books you guys have published. You can also get as add-ons, either digitally or physically, which there's some pretty good deals in there. We were talking before we were recording, and like $5 for Super Volume 1, that's almost 200 pages of superhero comics for $5. Like, that's nothing. Like, Marvel charges more than that for an issue of Spider-Man. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really excited to help bring this to people. Is there any other stories in here you guys can talk about? I know you're trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible.
Yeah, there's a bunch in there.
Say which one's
I want to go looking right now.
Yeah. John has a story in there. He hasn't mentioned it yet.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. What's your story then?
So yeah, I have a story that's, and this is one of the things about, like Miss Medusa's Marvelous Menagerie is kind of a preview, maybe a pitch for a bigger work that's coming out. And so is my story called Staying Alive, which is kind of it's like a Rockford Files kind of detective show, where the detective gets beat up a fair amount, but it's set in like modern day Pacific Northwest in the in the green rush industry, in the cannabis industry. So he's like a stoner Jim Rockford private detective who's not very good at his job.
I mean, I think that sounds like it's what we all want to be when we grow up, right?
Yeah, right.
That falls under the Unlikely Heroes like subtitle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a unifying kind of theme you guys have amongst all of the stuff you publish, right? I didn't even
guy
thought about it like that yet.
The guy who did artwork for Surgeon number 3, Stan Yak, has a funny, it's funny, sci-fi kind of thing that's set in some alternate universe, and there's gigantic dragons and all sorts of different monsters. That's a heck of a cool piece, and so that one is all in black and white. The letters are colored. My piece is in black and white. There's another one called Zane that's kind of like medieval swords and sorcery, but like like a trickster story. That one's really fun too. And that, I think we have 3 or 4 black and white stories, but a whole bunch of color. Some stuff that is, obviously trying to be like pro Marvel quality, photoshopped to the high resolution, and some is kind of more free form, or like you can see brush strokes on paper that were scanned in.
Okay.
A lot of different styles and ways of thinking about comics.
Yeah, this one definitely feels like it's a much bigger project than the first one was. Not that the first one was small by any means, because that was still like a nice big jam-packed collection. How's this one felt like in putting together? How's it been different than putting together the first volume?
Yeah, the first one, it was almost like, do we have enough? With the second one, there's no doubt that we have enough. It was, what do we do with it all?
Yeah.
It was clear that we were getting, a tremendous amount of really great material. And we had to start making decisions about what to keep, and how it might work together. I don't know. I think it's a good problem to have, having a lot of material.
Being spoiled for choice, right? Or an embarrassment of riches, whichever.
Yeah, I'm absolutely cool being embarrassed by riches.
Well, I mean, does that mean there might be a third volume on the horizon some point?
Oh yeah. I
can't see why not.
Yeah. I'm hoping this will be a yearly thing if we can manage it.
That would be great to have a yearly anthology book, because it's also great to showcase and promote, indie creators. As much as everyone loves Marvel and DC, like, it's no secret I'm personally extremely bored by the repetitive stories and how everything there's no character growth or change. Everything's always going to revert to their most marketable form. But there's so many great, interesting stories and creators out there. And the trouble is just you have to find them. But like, if I can point people to like, hey, here's one volume, even though it says volume 2, you don't have to read anything else. It's got like, a dozen great stories in it. And if you find someone you like, then you can go down that rabbit hole and follow them on Instagram and online and find it's easier then to find what books that they're publishing. So I think
like any issue, any single issue you pick up of heavy metal is going to be entertaining. The Flight series, every single volume you pick it up, and it's this beautiful self-contained little world. All right, get a little artsy fartsy about it.
Go for it.
There was I think it was Kandinsky, the painter, who said that we want to make the viewers feel something that they never felt before.
Mhm.
And that's how you know that you have created something worthwhile. And I think when we can do that with the combination of pictures and story and the characters that develop in just the space of maybe 1 page, maybe 8 pages, that's exciting. So there's a whole bunch of individual works that give you this, like, each one is cool and well built and well constructed on its own, and then together they make something that's greater than the sum of the parts. The book has a character, I think, and the last one did too. Like you said, it kind of had this science fiction-y feel to it. I agree. And this one is a little bit wilder. This was a little more feral.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. Not that I didn't dislike the first one. I liked it very much, but like I just seeing the wild variety in art and the different kinds of stories, the ones you guys just told me about a bit, like they seem really cool, and you can get them all in one spot. It's not something you get, as much as I feel like you probably would think you would, if you go into a comic book store.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like the graphic novels, the novels, even like you go to the comic shop and you pick up 4 or 5 issues. Those go on the bedstand,
Yeah,
beside bed for night reading, or you read them Sunday morning. The one on the back of the toilet tank that has digestible chunks. No pun with digestible, but that has like 10-minute chunks. That's its own publishing product. That's something that every publisher wants to be able to create something for short bursts of engagement.
Yeah, and I know you can bet when you back it, you can also get the digital version. That might be something great on your phone then. Or it's just like, oh, I've got like 5 minutes at the bus stop. I can read up a chapter of it.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that aspect of it. That's pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great.
And I know all of your books are also available digital, and you can get them all in one spot here.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about some of the cool things you guys can get for doing the Kickstarter, right? Not only do you get the book, what are some of the things you guys get? Digital art books.
Yeah. We're also doing prints, like you were talking about the art prints. The prints we have are all available like in regular UV coated glossy print, and then we also have them as metal prints, which are really cool looking.
Yeah, like a little piece of steel right on the cover.
Yeah, and they're like how big are they, the metal ones?
They're comic size.
Okay, so they're not going to take up your whole wall.
Right.
Right. And in a retail location, you can just put them up on the shelf.
Yeah.
They don't, you don't have to put them on a special shelf.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. And that's nice because they won't like fold up or bend or anything, with humidity and whatnot.
Yeah, they're
metal
really
covers
cool.
are a fascinatingly cool innovation, and I never would have thought that I wanted them, and now I do. Like I like them a lot.
I'm afraid to get my first one because I think it'll like awaken something in me, and I need to get a ton of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I already don't have enough wall space for all the cool comic book stuff I get. But I guess again, that's a good problem to have, where you're just like, oh, because in theory I could just rotate them, but I'm lazy.
And then there's the leather bound copies too.
Yeah, we were talking about that. They're really cool.
Yes.
A little expensive for my blood, but I can see that.
It.
Yeah, they look like some sort of grimoire tome or something. They're really cool.
Yeah, we actually so the guy who does that for us, it's a Geekify. His name's John Taylor or whatever. I have it kind of planned with him that each volume of Elsewhere is going to be a different color, and they're going to coordinate. So like if you actually get all the leather bound versions, they're going to look really fucking cool on the shelf because it's going to be like a gradient of
Oh my god.
Shades.
Okay, so they're actually you're designing them so they do put them in order, and they'll like go from one to the other.
Yeah. Exactly.
I was like, oh, well, this one will be red, and then this one will be green, and then no, that's pretty cool. Now that I'm like looking, because I have the Kickstarter page up, now I'm seeing the two of them together. One's black and one's a little bit lighter. I can see that you're going for that now.
Yeah, the new one. So the number one will be black, and then number two will be like a charcoal, and then they'll kind of get lighter gray, and then we're gonna have like browns and reds, and we're gonna just keep, yeah.
That's really
That's
cool.
so great.
So, how did you guys get your submissions for this? Do people reach out to you? Do you reach out to people?
Yes.
Both. All right, good.
Yeah. So, you know, Lori's social media reach is bigger than mine, but between the two of us, when we say a couple times in a row that we're looking for short submissions, we'll hear back, and we'll hear plenty of people who say, you know, oh, I'd love to, let me get something together. And we say, yeah, here's the deadline. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, we give in. But then, you know, like you, Lori, don't you post on like social media groups?
Yeah, there are a couple of anthology kind of groups and stuff. Of course, like we have just on our website, like uhstudios.com/elsewhere, there's guidelines for submitting, and there's a submission form. So that's always there. But yeah, it would probably be Facebook groups and stuff like that. And of course, the creators from the previous volumes, like we contact them and we're like, we're doing it again if you want to submit something, because you know some of these creators are just like Dino Caruso. He has 2 stories in this one. I think he might have had 2 stories in the previous volume as well.
He's a maniac. Like, that dude puts out comics.
I don't know what he's doing so many stories, and like he gave us probably 6 and they were all good. And we were like, well, we can't put them, like, should we just do a Dino anthology? Like, I don't know what to do with this.
I was about to say that might be cool to do like some Elsewhere's like best ofs later, some anthology book for your anthologies where like you can try like specific creators or kind of styles.
Yeah, and honestly, we have plenty of people who the dude who did the Kaiju Love Story, he sent us like half dozen too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are plenty of people that we have, and you know, it's interesting. Comics people kind of want to do issue length, you know, the 22 pages, or they want to do graphic novel length, or they want to do these short pieces. And like John Chance, he's got a ton of short pieces. Dino Caruso, and you know, it's interesting that, you know, if you're going to produce, let's say 150 pages over a certain amount of time, some people choose to do that in shorts with a lot of different art teams and a lot of different creative folks involved. And we are grateful for that.
Yeah. I was just say, I don't write as much as I used to, but like, I actually really like like working on short pieces. Like I usually do prose because I'm not an artist and it's hard to find a comic artist who, can get stuff to you on time. As you know, I'm not a publisher. You guys have something a little bit different, but I like to write like maybe 2,000, 3,000 words, but like it really forces you to just cut out all the bull and like, focus on just it's a good exercise to do every once in a while because it helps you hone like what's important in the story and what's not. And like you end up losing a lot of extraneous details that some people can get bogged down in. I don't know. I find it more creatively energizing than just, well, I've got a Word document and it can go on forever. I can do whatever I want.
Right.
Yeah. So
and it's a whole different craft.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
there are plenty of people, you know, in literary fiction that we know for their work as short writers. There are plenty of people who we know for writing long stuff. And different people have different skill sets. Yeah, and I'm with you, man. You know, like, what do you want to read? Do you want to read a 300-page graphic novel? I've got what's it? Something Brown, about the little kid. It's got these maniacal, really tight little illustrated bits, and the book is flipped over. I can't remember the character's name, but it's this thick. It's hardcover. It's got this wraparound thing with like intensely detailed stuff that, you know, like I got to get a different pair of glasses to see everything. that's fun. It's a heck of a cool book. It's like 600 pages or something of comic art, and at its same level of detail. Or do you want to read 150 pages? Do you want to read 22? Do you want to read 6?
Well, I've always been a fan of like the stories being as long as they need to be. I hate when things get real bloated and kind of waste your time a little bit. Or, on the flip side, like, hey, this should be a lot longer. Like, there's so much cool stuff that you're glossing over. So like I said, like I like that it forces a level of creativity, and you have to be a little bit more thoughtful about what you're putting into it.
And in this anthology, and in a lot, I'm sure, I did this. The short works are a pitch or a piece or a taste or a teaser of something longer.
Oh yeah, like I'm sure you can look at these as like almost like a pilot season,
Yeah.
If someone wanted to spin it off into, like, Miss Medusa, like that might have some legs. No pun intended, because I assume there's like monsters with multiple legs in it.
But it has legs and tentacles.
Yeah. Like, hey, I have more. There's more I can explore in this space. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do that even this, in volume 3, or I could do it as my own comic for a little bit. And then, then that can be collected in its own graphic novel and sat alongside this on your shelf. But that's really exciting. But yeah, so as of recording this, there's 9 days left. So probably going to be a little bit less by the time you're listening to this. I know I ordered mine today. I know we'll eventually get them for the store, but I know we will be after the fact that after backers start getting their copies, since you helped back it, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it. I was really excited for the first one, and I think I'm even more excited for this one. I think the variety of stories is very enticing. I'm very much looking forward to it, and the art you guys have shown is really top level, like better than half the things I think I have on the shelf now. Not trying to put anyone else down. But like, I think you have a really good collection of talent you're showing off right now.
Thank you. No, I think it's important to mention, because I think some people have struggled backing us because they're like, oh, an anthology, it's probably just like some crap that people threw together.
Yeah, I think people think like the Xerox zines, like that.
And I've made plenty of those. The same one.
Yeah. Listen, those have a charm too, but like, yeah, this is like a full professional thing, which almost sounds like I'm almost insulting, which isn't necessarily what I'm going for, because you guys are professional comic creators and a comic publisher, but I'm just trying to be reassuring to people who might, have not looked at the website yet. You should definitely check it out.
And also, like as an editor, one of my joys is always to take people who are at a certain level in their career and put them in the same book as somebody who's, a little more on the just starting it.
Mm-hmm.
That, in my experience, people in anthologies, people, I ran an anthology arts magazine for several years. People who are involved at that level together, and Lori and I are communicating with everybody who made this book. Hey, there's 9 days left in the Kickstarter. Don't forget to do this. Don't, that kind of just administrative stuff. There's a Facebook group, and they all can see each other's emails by now. What's cool is that, like 4 weeks after the Kickstarter ends, one of those people is going to send somebody else a note and say, man, I really liked your piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to work together. And then, they're going to produce something really cool that either we can publish in the next Elsewhere, or that they go on and get, more famous than us.
No, that's kind of the dream, though, isn't it? Like, you guys are kind of putting together a digital bullpen.
Yeah.
Like the classic, everyone in a room together, like working together kind of thing. But, that's one of the benefits is, the modern age. Which I guess, speaking of, you guys have an event coming up called Indie Your Face, which is a great name. Could you tell me a little about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's our live stream. We're just calling them creative names to try to get people on board.
The name
I
stuck
like
out
that
to
one.
me. I
That's
was
a
like, I
goodie.
got to talk about it. So,
But yeah, it's gonna be Monday, March 15th.
that's what it says.
And we're gonna have us on. We're gonna talk about Elsewhere because Elsewhere will still be up for a couple of days at that point. We'll have 2 days to go. But we're also gonna have 4 other indie creators who are running their own Kickstarters at the same time for completely different stuff. We're gonna have Russell Nolte, Moana McAdams, who does she does a podcast, so she'll be kickstarting her second season. Don Walker, who currently has a Kickstarter for a book called Dreadlock the Barbarian. If you guys like Conan at all, it's fucking awesome. And there's one more person who I'm forgetting, Brian J. Lambert, who also currently has a Kickstarter for a book called Nightfall, and he's doing the second issue. So we're going to be talking to all of them about their projects and kind of hopefully promoting their stuff and promoting our stuff.
Oh, that's really exciting. I'm really glad seeing you guys do all this stuff. I remember when Unlikely Hero Studios was just like a couple of dudes in Atlantic City trying to get a superhero comic out, and now you're trying to. Now it seems like you're almost becoming like an indie forefront for creators. I'm really excited to still be a part of the story for this, which I guess speaking of, was it Surgeon number 3 you should get because I'm in it and get killed, which I'm really excited.
That's right, you
about.
do.
Yeah. I finally got to see myself in the comic and I got killed off.
And this whole year has
Yeah.
been so weird. Like I've had 2 books come out. Up from the Skies and Surgeon 3, and then we'll get Elsewhere here, and like I don't get to go to cons. My local shops, anybody within driving distance, all shut down because of COVID.
Oh, it sucks.
Like this whole pandemic and its impact. Sure, it had a huge impact on the business. It really like knocked Diamondback on its heels early on. Everybody's kind of scrambling, but just like me personally, I feel like I'm just creating these books and they're all in my attic. I'm really eager to get some paper in front of people.
Yeah, I really miss being able to do events and shows and stuff. We were in the habit of doing like at least a signing every month, if not like a bigger event. And then, March 17th last year, that's when like the lockdown happened in Jersey, and we were closed for like 3-4 months. And thank God we had some government assistance for that. But like, we were able to bounce back, and like, I don't want to sound like we're, being smug or anything, but we're doing pretty okay. Like we just announced we're expanding and opening a second location. But like, I know we're not the typical story for this. Like it's sad to hear not just comic book shops closing from that, but just like anyone, any small business closing. We run a small business. We know how tough it is. Like, you gotta, I don't know. But I would love to, it's granted, other comic book shops closing up might sound better for us, but like it's bad for the whole industry. Like, comic stop, like people need to place to buy comics in order for more comics to be made.
Well, and Maury, see if this jibes with your experience. But like the last year, everything I've read says Kickstarters, there aren't as many being launched, but the ones that do launch have a higher success rate. And like more of the ones who launch are successful. And also they tend to raise more money, which is fascinating. And like as creators, we love our fans anyway, but holy moly, thanks for that. I mean, when times are bad, the people who care, who did something, who give a darn, have supported this industry.
Yeah, as much as like I've always said, comic fans aren't happy unless they're complaining about something, and I include myself in that as well.
Sure.
Yeah, but like especially because the next couple episodes of the podcast, not to spoil anything, but we're talking about like the Zack Snyder movies and stuff, and I'm not a big fan. But you know,
Same.
yeah, when people are, you know, the grumbling comes from a place of passion. Like you don't open a comic book store because you're indifferent towards them, because
Right.
you know,
Or
I'm
because
trying,
it's a sound
yeah.
investment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's the secret to make a small fortune in this. Start with a large one.
Yeah.
But like, you know, we've been training some new people because we're expanding, and talking to them about them, like, you know, the best part of your day is once you start to get to know a lot of our regulars, and then you can talk to them and you get to know them. Like I've developed a lot of really strong friendships over the years because of that. And you don't even just have to talk about comics. Like, you know, we're also into baseball and stuff. Someone comes in, you know, with like a Phillies hat, that's a good place to start, you know, a conversation or something. So yeah, I don't know. I find that people will stick with you, and we've had a similar experience when we were shut down. We were kind of able to like scramble and get a bunch of like our graphic novels and stuff out to like 3 of our managers' house, and then we were doing our sales online, and then shipping them from home. But you know, people were like buying a lot of digital gift cards and stuff, you know, just so they
Right. Yeah.
just so they could get us some money. But like I would insist that they would do that, because then at least it gives them something they can spend on later. You know, that way they can still get something for their buck when we open back up. But you know, then there was a while where we weren't allowed, because our main store's in the mall, and there was a while where, you know, we were allowed, like employees were allowed in, but like the public wasn't. So we're just doing like curbside and stuff. And
Yeah.
you know, everyone kind of adapted. Most of our comic regulars, like, we would start sending the invoices for their comics online, and then they would buy them, and you know, we were working on that. But I remember the day we came back to open back up, it was like better than like Christmas season. Like everyone came out, but I also don't know how much of that is everyone was sick of being stuck at home.
Right.
But it's still
Yeah,
really,
there's definitely some of that.
it still feels really nice to be like, oh, you know, what we do is kind of silly and frivolous in a certain way. Like, I know I tell people, like, listen, I sell comic books. I understand that we're going to like the lowest end of priorities for stuff opening back up or staying open during this. But you know, it's still nice. Like, people enjoy what we do, and like, it's just validating, you know?
Yeah, art and entertainment are really important, even though
Yeah.
it's a pandemic. Like, that's like, people need a distraction. They need something.
And you know, art especially art, like what you guys do, can be really powerful. You know, in the right circumstances. Like you're talking about art making you feel something you haven't felt before. There's no reason comics can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, I've read some amazing books over the years, and like, they come from all kinds of places. Man, getting a little bit philosophical and off topic. But yeah, definitely get kicked. Check out the Kickstarter. Again, I'll link it in the description. So check it out. But yeah, you guys have any other final thoughts on Elsewhere, or just guys comics in general, or you know, the meaning of life, whatever you guys feel like waxing poetic about right now?
I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get to do this. This is exactly what I wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. You know, and the community, the indie community, and in terms of fans and creators, you know, I've met some total backstabbers in this business, but I've also met some of the best people I know in this business.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's all about.
Yeah, the secret to life is not always like what you know. Sometimes it's who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, most comic book creators I've met with, especially in the indie scene, have been pretty good guys. But you know, like you said, some people aren't, and that's just the way of life.
Well, I find just making this anthology, we've met a lot of indie creators that we wouldn't have connected with.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. And just found out about their work and been like, oh, you know, we can hire them down the line. We can work with them. We can, yeah. And there's so many, and like, people don't know about them. It's crazy.
What's nice is, you know, you're giving everyone a chance to kind of like show each other off, and everyone's signal boosting each other's works.
Yeah.
You know, that's really cool.
And trying to do it in a spirit where there's no sense of the necessity of competition.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's vying for space. Everybody's in it together. And when we remove that, you know, like illusion that somebody has to win, then they can talk to each other and support each other.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's great. But yeah, like I said, I love supporting indie creators, and I've known you guys for a while now, and we've always been there to support you, and I will continue to do so until you make a bad book, which I don't think is going to happen.
and then we're gonna trash you.
Yeah, and then I'll never carry anything you ever do again. That's how it works, right? Yeah, once Marvel puts out something bad, we just stop that whole line,
Oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah, what about you, Laurie? How are you feeling about Elsewhere? What do you hope people take away from it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Just that you can make a really, really good quality book without having names on it. Like a lot of people were complaining to me, like if they don't have a big enough name, they won't get accepted. Like anthologies seem to be either one or the other. Like it's all like they have to have a bunch of heavy hitters, or they have to have, or it's just some guy assembling something and it's thrown together. Like and we're trying to we're doing it kind of differently, and it's not about names. Like I don't really care. Like if we get a name, that's great, because that name will help promote other people. But if we don't get one, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like we just want the book to look good and be awesome, and for people to enjoy it and learn about new creators. So
and the people in Elsewhere, they have credits, but they're it's not like we got Scotty Young, or it's not like we got some huge name. We got pros. We got people who work for a living. And
yeah,
I mean, if you can do that in this business, that's great.
Yeah, man. And like, I'll be honest with you, I've been moving stuff. I've been moving, and like, I've been going through some of my old, like, because some of my old indie books. I'm like, oh, this art looks familiar, and then I look at the art, I look at the name, and I'm like, oh, now I know them now. They've gone on and done like Spider-Man and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, now it's really cool. I have this little piece of like before they were famous.
Yeah.
And now you can get it with like 75 creators.
Mm-hmm.
So there's literally got to be something for everybody in there. Otherwise, you just don't like comic books.
Yeah, it's so listen, when 5 years from now, when one of the creators in this book becomes famous, this is going to be a total collector's issue.
Oh yeah.
Like you have, this is like as sure as Bitcoin. You need to buy it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the new cryptocurrency, is getting comic books. Hey, that's the way it was in the 90s, right? But yeah, well, thank you guys so much for joining me. Listeners, please back Elsewhere. Please at least check it out. I think it's going to be worth getting. You'll kick yourself for not getting it offhand, because we're going to have to sell it to you at a higher price in the store. But at least we will have it available. John, Laurie, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise, man. Thanks, and a pleasure.
I'll have an excuse to have you guys on, and when we're not trying to promote a specific product, or next time we have a specific product to promote, I'll have you on. Whatever, it's my podcast. I can do whatever I want.
Rare that we don't.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, a good comic creator always has something to promote, right? Which, speaking of, where can everyone find you guys? Got any social medias you want to plug?
John, do you want to go first?
I mean,
for yourself,
I'm on Facebook. There, if you look for me, you'll find me. I'm on Instagram too. Bubba Sattva, like a bodhisattva, the incarnation of a Buddha who stays behind to make sure everybody gets enlightened. Bubba. Yeah. And then garbagefactory.com is my website. I like everything I've done, period, not just Unlikely Heroes Studios books, is on there. And that's a good way, probably.
Yeah, and for the company, it's just Unlikely Heroes Studios on Facebook, at UH Studios on Twitter, at UH Studios Official on Instagram, and uhstudios.com/Kickstarter. for the Kickstarter, and then uhstudios.com for our web store. We actually have a merch store now where we have shirts. John is wearing one of them. He's wearing one of the Up from the Sky shirts.
Nice.
But we're going to be adding 3 new designs tomorrow for St. Patrick's Day that include the Unquenchable Lush from Super.
It's almost like he was made to be on St. Patrick's Day merch.
You would think, yeah. I can't believe we haven't done it until now, but it's happening now.
Oh, and the other shirt that's so great is the Mummy Cat from Hot Brass Pharaoh's Gold, which I wrote with my son. And I went into his room today to show him. I got him a Mummy Cat t-shirt. I held it up for him, and he was like, "There's a cat in the book?" I'm like, "Dude, yes, there is." He's in the background of a whole lot of stuff, and he's always doing something funny, and he's a running hilarious joke that he and I agreed on. But then, whatever.
I mean, that's still really cool. There's been quite a few comics that, like, one of the co-writers is a kid. Those are some of the most fun books, because like the best ones really tap into that like kid's imagination, like that as an adult you wouldn't think about anymore. So I'll check that out. I'm excited to check that out. I'll go check out the new shirts too. So that'll do us for this special episode. Like I said, it's going to be up on a special day, since time's going to be of the essence. You can check us out at levelupentertainment.com. We carry all Unlikely Heroes products, at least comics. I think we have all the books right now. If not, we're going to have to order more. I'm going to have to order some more soon anyway, because we're opening up a second location in Summers Point. I'm going to need to stock the store there. So Laurie and I will talk about that off air. But yeah, so until next time, be safe.